This.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
I guess it's Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. My apologies. I'm going to tell you a story about a kid who grew up here in the metro area and kind of his experience with gun violence. And that story really begins back in 1993 when one day he was awakened because his stepfather, who owned a hobby shop in a shopping center in Aurora, they thought there might have been a fire. Something was going on. There was a lot of police presence. What turned out to have actually happened is that a very young man had, in rage of being fired from his employer, had walked into that restaurant and killed everybody who was still there, except for one person. That person who survived went door to door looking for help and found help, but was obviously a big blow to that part of town. Fast forward, that kid's in high school, decides to get a job, likes working in movie theaters, gets a job at a trailer in the parking lot of the Aurora Mall for a new theater under construction, the Century 16. Fast forward a little bit further, a few months later, after that theater opens, that same kid is sitting in a classroom at Rangeview High School in Aurora, Colorado, when all of a sudden you started hearing the bang of these metal things going over the windows. And we didn't have lockdown drills, but our school was built. It was built to be in an inner city, and because it was that way, they had designed it for gunfire. And they started sliding these metal things into the windows. That kid was obviously very freaked out because back then we had what was called Channel 1 was broadcast into classrooms, and we watched that unfold. And what a lot of people don't know is that they've really changed what it looked like from the real thing you saw that day. Columbine High School looked very different that day. They've edited a lot of what we saw. That boy, me, what I saw. I think when we talk about all of those crimes, there's a common thread. When we talk about all of those horrific events that have happened here in the metro area, where me, that kid, grew up. They were all committed by very young men. And they were all committed by somebody who did not yet form an idea of what the implications of their actions had been. I don't really talk about these stories very often because it's ridiculous how many times that boy, me, has had my path crossed with gun violence. And I only feel lucky to have, thank God, not been there myself, not been in front of that situation. But it's scary to live in a world where you're that close to it all the time. And the passage of this bill will prevent those who should not be in possession of these types of weapons from having those types of weapons. And in almost every case that I discussed would have prevented that from happening. And that would have been a much different story for that kid. So please vote yes on this bill. Thank you very much.
Representative DeGraff.